As the moon rose high in the sky, I wondered, could I possibly survive long enough to see the dawn? It had been 3 days since I first wandered into this forest, with no tools and night falling fast. In my panic to find shelter, I hadn't stopped to consider what sorts of dangers lurked in the darkness. Now I was trapped, with no choice but to cower among the trees and hope the monsters didn't find me. But I had to try. I had to find a way. Once I got a fire started, using what little wood I could scavenge in the gloom, I began to feel slightly better. At least I wouldn't freeze. But the sounds in the shadows were distressing grunts and moans and eerie shuffling that made my skin crawl. Come morning, I knew I would have to move. But where to go, and how could I survive another night? As the fire died down, I gazed into the coals, hoping for inspiration to strike. When light returned at long last, I saw that this hilltop offered a view of the land in all directions. If I could make it to the top of that tall peak in the distance, maybe I could spot landmarks, find my bearings. It was a plan, at least, which was better than none. I packed up the few meager supplies I had scrounged and began the long hike, keeping a wary eye out. Where there was daylight, perhaps there was hope, but new terrors surely awaited as night fell once more. By late afternoon, I spotted an old mine shaft half hidden in the side of the hill. Its entrance gaped dark and forbidding, but inside might be shelter or resources left behind. My empty belly urged me to explore, but going underground as dusk drew near was risky. Still, what choice did I have? I steeled my nerves and ducked into the gloom, lighting a makeshift torch. Echoes of past diggers seemed to whisper on the dusty air. What secrets would I uncover in the deeps? As I delved deeper, tunnel after tunnel branched out, winding into the growing gloom. Would I become lost down here, just when I thought I'd found refuge? The ancient wooden supports creaked and groaned under the weight of the earth. I knew one wrong move could bring the whole place crashing down. Then, through the shifting shadows, I glimpsed a glint of color that was not stone. Had I stumbled across forgotten riches, or something more perilous waiting in the depths? My light would only reveal so much. As I drew closer, my light flickered across a rich vein of copper buried deep in the stone. At last, a source of useful materials. I miners pick and set to work, chipping away in the unsteady glow. But my torch was fading, and I had a sudden worrying thought. What if I became trapped down here in the enveloping dark? I worked faster against mounting panic, sweat beading on my skin. When at last the ore tumbled loose, I grasped my prize and hurried back the way I came, feeling the minutes tick by. Please, let me make it out before my narrow world goes black. I breached the entrance just as the flaming brand sputtered and died in my stiff fingers. Gasping for breath, I collapsed onto the fallen leaves and peered up at the painted sunset sky, awash with relief. I had beaten the coming night. Barely. Rolling over, I examined my first true spoils by the fading rose light. Chunks of shining native copper, enough to craft basic tools. At last, a step toward survival in this perilous forested realm. But as the ethereal glow faded, I knew the hard work and dangers were just beginning. What new trials would tomorrow bring? For now, an uneasy rest would have to suffice.